first student speaker for tonight is Luke Yin. Luke is a junior at IMSA and discovered a passion for tennis after buying a ping-pong table during the pandemic. He's involved in several activities at IMSA, but he particularly enjoys being part of the IMSA tennis team, something that began with a simple, spontaneous decision to try something new. What started as a small decision ended up transforming his health, his confidence, and his life in ways that he could never have expected. In his talk, Luke will show us how even the smallest changes can spark big choices and challenge the idea that it is too late to start something new. Please join me in welcoming Luke to the stage with The Art of Starting Small.
If I had $1 every time I told myself, I'll just start tomorrow, I'd probably have enough money to buy out Amazon by now. But here's the thing, tomorrow never came. And if I kept waiting around for the perfect opportunity to start changing my life, I'd probably still be sitting around, snacking, and convincing myself that Netflix marathons counted as cardio. We've all been there, thinking it's too late to change. Maybe it's a goal we've always dreamed about, a skill we've always wanted to learn, or even a simple lifestyle change. It's easy to feel like the opportunity has passed, but what if it hasn't? For me, that realization came in spring of 2020. Like most of you, my family was stuck at home with nothing to do, so we decided to buy a ping pong table as a seemingly trivial way to help pass the time. But little did we know, that ping pong table would lay the foundation for one of the most transformative journeys of my life. You see, that ping pong table wasn't just a distraction from the quarantine. It was the first drop in a pond that would create ripples far beyond what I could have imagined. What started as casual games with my family turned into hours of play. It was the start of a journey that took me from being severely overweight to embracing a much healthier and more active lifestyle. But most importantly, it taught me this: it's never too late to begin. We often think that transformation requires a dramatic beginning, a perfect time, place, or plan. But what I've learned is that transformation begins with the smallest steps, because the act of starting can create momentum that redefines the direction of our lives. So today, I want to talk about why it's never too late to start, why the first step matters more than the timing, and how each of us has the potential to create a new chapter at any point in our lives. Revisiting that first step for me, I wasn't moving much at the time. My days consisted of sitting around, snacking, and doing whatever I could to fill the endless hours of lockdown, and my health reflected that. I was overweight, sluggish, and honestly, unmotivated. Buying the ping pong table slightly changed that, and although it didn't single-handedly transform my life, it was at least enough to get me moving again. Fast forward to when pandemic restrictions eased, my parents suggested I try tennis lessons. Although I was unathletic and the idea of trying something new felt daunting, I couldn't ignore the way that tennis had started to change me. It wasn't just about the game. It was the sense of accomplishment that came with improving and the confidence that came with doing something active again. So despite my doubts, I decided to give it a shot. And unsurprisingly, my first lessons were humbling. Actually, no, they were humiliating. To put it frankly, all the other 13-year-olds could at least rally the ball back and forth, but I couldn't. Those tennis lessons became the highlight of my week in the same way that a dentist appointment might. You don't want to go, but you feel oddly proud of surviving it once it ends. Still, I showed up week after week, not because I was good at it, but because I hoped that with enough time and effort, I might just start to get better. What I didn't realize, though, was that those small, consistent efforts were beginning to add up. By the end of my freshman year, not only had tennis become one of my largest passions, but I also had clear accomplishments as a result of my efforts too, as not only had tennis become one of my largest passions, but I helped my team win the sectional championship and I qualified for the state tournament. A year later, during my sophomore year, I did it again. But what those accomplishments represented, however, were more than just wins on paper. They proved to me that I could start something new, even when it felt like everyone else was years ahead. In the beginning, seeing how naturally the other 13-year-olds played made me question whether I even belonged on the court. But those experiences taught me resilience, integrity, and most importantly, that it's never too late to change. So, if you somehow haven't figured it out by now, my message to you is whatever you dream of accomplishing, take that first step and make it happen. No matter your circumstances or your fears, starting can change everything. Of course, that's easier said than done, so to help make that journey feel a little less intimidating, here are 3 lessons I've learned along the way. The first one is that the initial step is the hardest. That's because starting isn't about being ready, it's about being willing. In the book Atomic Habits, which discusses how to build lasting routines, James Clear emphasizes that real change doesn't come from huge overhauls. Instead, it comes from tiny habits, what he calls the smallest unit of progress. He writes, "Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you want to become. For me, that first vote was saying yes to those tennis lessons, even though I knew I'd fail. And although I struggled, it was worth it because it got me moving in the right direction." What's fascinating is how this initial momentum can shape not only your actions, but also your mindset. Behavioral science supports the idea that starting small helps bypass the mental barriers of perfectionism or fear of failure. When we take even the smallest step, it rewires our brains to focus on progress rather than outcomes. You don't need all the answers or the perfect plan, you just need to take that first step. When I picked up that ping pong paddle for the first time, it didn't feel like a monumental decision, but it created ripples that eventually led to something bigger. The second lesson is that growth happens in the struggle. The path to success isn't smooth, and there are inevitably going to be challenges. But what defines your journey isn't the challenges you face, it's how you respond to them. Studies from Stanford University on growth mindset suggest that people who embrace challenges and view them as opportunities to learn are much more likely to succeed in the long run. What I haven't told you until now is that I lost my first few matches despite constantly practicing. And although it was frustrating, those losses were pivotal because they forced me to evaluate key weaknesses of my game that I previously avoided working on. Think about it this way. A muscle only grows when it's put under stress. Without resistance, there's no strength. Life operates in the same way. My losses on the court felt like failures in the moment, but they were the resistance I needed, not only to grow stronger in tennis, but also in life. You see, those were the moments I began to realize that struggle isn't the enemy, it's the teacher. It's those early moments of continuously failing that motivates you to be better and to surpass the competition. The third lesson is that the reward is in the process. Often, we focus so much on achieving a goal that we miss the value of the journey itself. This is so detrimental because Harvard Business School found that people who find meaning in the process of their work are much more likely to stay motivated and achieve long-term success. For me, the journey wasn't just in winning matches. It was in falling in love with the sport and building connections with my teammates. The process of growth became something I genuinely look forward to, even more than the competitions themselves. And looking back, it's those everyday moments that mean the most to me now, like joking around with the team, eating dinner with the team, or debating who was going to share the bed with Arnav at state. It was me, by the way. Anyway, enjoying the process is especially important when you feel like you're starting behind everyone else, since the pressure of perfection is gone. Instead of worrying about being the best or catching up, you can instead channel that energy into becoming the best version of yourself. If there's one thing I want you to take away from my talk, it's that the starting line isn't behind you. It's wherever you decide to place it. For me, my journey started with a ping pong paddle in my hand and a few clumsy shots across a garage table. It didn't look like much, but it was something. And that something was enough to nudge me forward, out of stagnation and into motion. Whether it's picking up a new skill, revisiting a forgotten dream, or even making a lifestyle change, the moment you take that first step is the moment you begin rewriting your story. The truth is, there's no perfect time to begin. The only time that matters is the moment you decide to move forward. And as you decide to move forward, you'll discover something extraordinary. Not just what you can accomplish, but who you can become along the way. So, what's that one thing you've been telling yourself it's too late to try? Let today be the day you start, because every step forward, no matter how small, is proof that it's never too late to create the life you want. As you leave here today, I want you to think about this one question. Where will you place your starting line? Thank you.